Здравствуйте! Сегодня у нас в гостях группа Burn The Ballroom из Соединенных Штатов Америки, хедлайнеры фестиваля V-ROX 2016. Hello and welcome. Our guest today is a Washington DC-based band Burn The Ballroom, who's here to headline the V-ROX music festival. Hello guys, and thank you for being with us.
Hey, thanks for having us.
So we'll start with the question, what was that brought you all together in the first place?
You mean as a band?
Yeah.
We all just sort of met through the music community in Northern Virginia and DC. We either met through other bands or through shows, or we saw each other playing, things like that. It just sort of ended up happening, and over time we sort of formed this lineup, this group.
Great, and where did you begin? What was the starting point? Were you like playing in a garage, or you just started in the studios?
When we first got together, we literally just had a storage unit, just out at this whole big storage facility, like with a huge garage door, and we just had everything inside. And then we would sometimes it was climate controlled, sometimes it was super hot or super freezing in there, but it was. It worked out. It was cool. But yeah, we totally started in like basically a garage. It was a big storage unit, and that worked well enough. Yeah.
So did each of you become a full-time professional musician before you joined the band?
Some of us did. Some of us still do other things. Sometimes it's teaching music or doing studio stuff or composing, things like that. So, but the band's doing bigger and bigger things, and at some point I hope that everybody can just do the band full time. That would be really cool.
Wow, and so I want to ask each of you, what's your favorite part of the whole process? I mean, from composing to shows and anything.
Playing live. It's always fun making the record, but getting out and playing live is the best part.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, playing in front of an audience that just wants to hear you is the most rewarding thing.
The same thing. I love seeing the fans and getting out there and showing off what we've been working hard on.
I like designing the stage show itself and like the lighting and all that. It's always really fun for me.
Gotta be different. I'm going with the live show. Everything kind of happens to push towards that live show.
That's great. You like the same thing most. And so, what's your music making process? So you all come up with your ideas, or you just come to the studio and then try to work out with this?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of changed a little bit over time. Like this last record, for example, like sometimes, or at least this time, like I would have an idea for a frame of a song, and then we would get together at rehearsals and sort of work on those and flesh them out, and each person would end up suggesting something or throwing out an idea that would sort of change the direction of that song, and eventually we ended up with these songs that we really love, that sometimes are different than how we originally imagined them, but usually it's like everybody puts their piece in, and you hear everybody's signature throughout the songs, so that's always really cool.
Yeah, that's great. And so you've been to a lot of different parts of the world. You were on tour in different countries, and so you've mentioned that playing for the fans is the thing you like most. So how are fans different in different countries, in different places?
They're definitely very different. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that in the U.S., people are kind of spoiled in that you can watch whatever you want, whoever you want, whenever you want, however you want, all the time, always. Which is good and bad in that people no longer, at least in certain areas of the country, because you will always have traditional music towns that really love going out and finding music, but there are a lot of towns, there are a lot of regions of the U.S. where people don't necessarily do that. So it's cool for us going overseas, just because people are just immediately interested. They hear there's like an American rock band, and it always sort of piques some curiosity. And so we've found that people are pretty open-minded, and they'll come out and they've really gotten into it, and they seem to just let go and get absorbed into the experience, and so it's been awesome. People have been just overwhelmingly positive about our performances, and they've really gotten into it. So that's been awesome.
Yeah, people are excited. They really are. So you do covers. I've seen covers that you do, and there were different, like Sally's Song and Starman and Show Must Go On and Toxic.
Yeah.
Again, I want to ask each of you, what's your biggest music influence or influences? If you
Go for it.
Mine is a band called Firehouse, which was a big 80s, 90s. They're in the 90s, really. It's a hair metal band that my cousin plays guitar for. So when I was a kid, that was the concerts I would go see.
Yeah, I mean, you would go to those shows.
Yeah,
with all those
maybe like
guys.
20,000 people when I was like 4 years old. Like dead shoulders.
That's why his hearing is so good.
was that when you decided to do drumming?
Yeah, as a child, really small. And my father had a band as well, and I played in that too. So, yeah.
I always say that my biggest influence is Queen, just because, like Burn the Ballroom, and I think it's because of Queen, they played such a variety of songs. They always had something for every vibe, every mood. So you could have like a funk song or an acoustic song, and then you could have like a classic rock song or like almost a hair metal song, and it was just that. I always thought that was really cool.
Guitar-driven dramatic music, kind of just anything like that. I listen to a lot of bands all over the globe, and I like a lot of metal, like punk rock, stuff like that. I love driving dramatic music, and this band fits that.
I guess for me, everything kind of goes back to classical music. It's like I've played piano since I was 5, and so like everything is kind of based off that. So I like metal is cool because it's like uses a lot of things from classical music, but that's just where I started.
So you ever thought about becoming a classical music?
I've performed a few times, and I played weddings on piano before, so it's different than playing like the guitar, but I like it too. So piano will always be my first instrument.
For me, it's like the big powerhouse 80s rock bands like Guns N' Roses, Metallica, AC/DC, anything with awesome guitar.
Yeah. Great. And returning to the Toxic cover I mentioned, and your new music video that's called Crazy. How important is irony and humor in what you do? Because the video it's funny and it's ironic, and a lot of stuff you do, some of the tour reels and things I've seen, you have fun and you like to joke and things. So what can you say about humor and irony?
I mean, we love being in a band, and we love playing music, and we take the performance seriously, but we also are pretty good, and we know better than to take ourselves too seriously. And it's just more fun to just, sort of show that. Also, we all have the same sense of humor, and so we like joking around and we have fun, and so we're always sort of on the same page. So when we say something like, yeah, why don't we just do a cover of Britney Spears right now? Nobody asks questions. Everyone's just like, well, yeah, of course.
Show me the chords.
That's exactly what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, and that's great.
So yeah, I mean, we don't want everything that we do to be funny. Fun is good, but we also have a real passion and flair for the dramatic. So, our shows, we like to go sort of overboard, and in our performances, we get really into it. But, every chance that we get where it seems appropriate, we like to have a good time and joke around. But I would say certainly, especially when we're traveling, irony, humor is a great way to connect with people. It's probably super important to us.
Yeah, and that's what the next question is related to. So your songs are quite different to each other. You can have a the pop punk song and the some metal or old school metal song and the pop tune like Crazy. So
Yeah.
now is that kind of a search for your sound, or you do that deliberately, just like eclectic?
I don't think we're looking for a sound. I think we just sometimes things just make sense that way to us. Like I think I would personally, for me, I would get bored just playing the same kind of song over and over. And for a song like Crazy, that's a song that's super ironic because the music itself is pretty upbeat, but the words are so dark. And I think that was just the kind of vibe I always wanted to have. I always wanted to be super proficient in everything that we did, while also, not taking it too seriously. So even in our heavier songs, we like to have like little moments of like, not levity exactly, but like, just odd creativity. So for a song like Whisper, for example, which has moments of really heavy instrumentation, we decided to start that song with accordion. And that's the only time we've ever done that, but it just like felt right. So I think we just like playing different stuff, and it's also nice because that way I think there's something for everybody, and then we enjoy playing that kind of variety as well.
Yeah, and as for the lyrics that you mentioned, are they? Do you write songs about yourself? So are they based on experiences you've had, or that's just you just?
I think it's a little of everything. I mean, I think you're always. I mean, for me, I think I'm always sort of pooling from my experiences. Sometimes songs have been about something specific, a relationship or an experience, and then sometimes I just like writing stories. So songs like Crazy, Whisper, Chariot, a bunch of songs that we have are stories, and I enjoy implementing storytelling into our songs. I think I'd get, again, super bored just having songs that are always about breakups and I'm sad because she left me or whatever. So, and while we do certainly have a couple of those, like, I think we just like changing it up. Storytelling is big
Entertaining
for us.
ourselves.
Yeah, entertaining ourselves. Sometimes I write lyrics just to see what they'll say about it. See what I can get away with. So yeah, I don't know. We just like to have fun and change it up.
Are they strict to the lyrics you write?
Are they?
Yeah.
No. Sometimes I'll ask about them, but it's I always like to see what kind of reaction I get. So, but no, I think we're always pretty much on the same page. So, which makes songwriting really fun and actually a pleasurable experience for the group.
Yeah, they sound like words. Fantastic.
Thomas is not picky, apparently.
Well, and so returning to that video again, there are references to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest there. So what part in what you do is for the other forms of art, like painting or film, or what? What's your relation to that? How do you get inspired by filmers?
Sure. I mean, I think all of us are inspired by all kinds of forms of art. I mean, I know Thomas, certainly for songs on this new record we have coming out in the next couple months, is heavily influenced by big moving movie scores. There's film, but certainly art, literature, other music, and our travel experiences all play a big role in influencing the songs and the styles that we do.
So your tours influenced your next.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So how do you think that this trip could influence your further work?
We were just talking about that, but I don't know how it's going to influence it. But I mean, we know that our tour and our experience through Russia is certainly going to play a role moving forward in other things that we do and songs that we write.
And so what's the main thing that you've noticed after these 2 days? That's again the question to each of you. So what was it you will remember, you think, for a long time?
Well, there's a lot of things about the city that I like a lot, but the thing I've said always is the way that the coastline looks. It's a really beautiful city. And, the people have been wonderful. And it's pumped to play tonight. I'm sure after we get that show out of us, I'll remember a lot of that. So.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I think the thing that stands out to me is the experience that we've had with the people that are working with us. So the V-ROX people, people from the U.S. consulate, have just been so overwhelmingly supportive and awesome, you know, for even bringing us out here. And so I think for me, it's just the warmth of the people that we've been working with, and the people that we've met, whether it's people who are doing interviews or fans or just, you know, the relationships that we're making, the friendships we're making with the people that we meet while we're here. I think that's big for me.
I love how people seem to be really curious about us. Like, nobody seems to be very shy about coming up and asking, you know, what we're doing here. That, and there's a lot of hills. A lot of hills in this place, and my equipment gets heavier and heavier every day.
I guess for me, I noticed that even though that we're about the other side of the earth where we're from, everybody is kind of the same. There's not like the stereotype of Russians. Everybody's been really nice and really cool.
And it's kind of the opposite of what Thomas said, seeing the nuances of the differences in cultures and getting to take in a culture that I've never really been too heavily involved with before.
Yeah. I mean, I think we were kind of talking about that earlier. We were remarking on how there are as many surprising similarities between the region that we're from in the States and Vladivostok, and as there are surprising differences. But it's been awesome. We really like Vladivostok. It's been really cool, and we're super excited to play here tonight. It's going to be awesome.
And everyone is beautiful. I'll remember that.
Yeah, so that's the point where we're going to finish. Thank you very much, guys, for being with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. С нами была группа Burn The Ballroom из Соединенных Штатов, хедлайнер фестиваля V-ROX 2016. Спасибо.